finally got his wish: execution. He was grateful, not for his life, but for the end of it. But a goddess dragged him back from oblivion with a sick deal. To atone for killing 13 people, he must now reincarnate and kill 11 corrupt heroes. But why him? Why choose a monster who despises his own nature, a man who literally begged to stay dead, to hunt other monsters? The goddess's logic is twisted. The only cure for her hero problem is a professional killer. He's a killer who despises killing, now on a mission from hell. I'm Narumee. Join me as we unravel this twisted atonement. The boy's face is soaked in blood, a living testament to a life born from murder. He has walked alongside death for as long as he can remember. The bodies of those he has just slain lie before him, and he cannot stop. This path is his destiny. Now finally caught, he hangs blindfolded from a rope. A voice calls his number, declaring his death penalty. His last words slip quietly. A thank you for the killing. It's a strange kind of gratitude. He's not thanking them for his life. He's thanking them for the end of it. The execution ends, and in the next moment, he rises into the air. He scans the world below, expecting oblivion. Instead, he spots a girl standing beneath a banner. It reads, "Congratulations on your reincarnation." Well, this is a new level of corporate HR for the afterlife. She lifts her hand, her smile bright and almost teasing. She tells him he has magnificently earned the rare right to be reincarnated in another world, a chance few could claim. She raises a finger and pauses, a blush crossing her cheeks, admitting she is a goddess. He turns to her, expressionless. Zero reaction. This complete lack of enthusiasm clearly throws her off her script. She was expecting joy, or at least confusion. She got nothing. She hurriedly explains he is dead, and she offers him the privilege of a new life in a fantastical world. Her gestures are animated. She is selling the isekai dream. Swords and magic, monster hunting, wealth, influence, even flirting with beautiful girls. The full package. Thanks to reincarnation, his appearance will remain flawless, promising adventures far beyond the dull cruelty of his past life. He does not flinch. He asks simply, "Do you know about me?" The one question that shatters the whole fantasy. She steps closer, her voice soft but edged with something dark. She tells him she knows exactly who he is, a bloodthirsty serial killer, sentenced to death for taking 13 lives. Her hand rises, gently covering his face as she whispers, that it is not enough for him yet, is it? She says he still wants to kill more, and that she is offering him that very chance. This is the real pitch, not the hero's journey. It's a lateral move for a psychopath. Turning around, she lifts a finger toward the sky. She calls him to follow, saying he should do his best to kill many in the new world. Her eyes flash as she glares at him, but his face remains empty. She tries to stir him, asking what is wrong. If this is not the moment he should cry with joy or laugh like one of those villains he resembles. She's actively disappointed that her new recruit isn't cackling maniacally. Red flag, maybe? She tells him he has been given a new life where he can continue killing. The perfect gift for someone like him. His voice is flat as he answers, "I do not want to kill any more people." This definitely was not the answer she was expecting. Her hands fold across her chest, her expression twisting with disbelief. She mutters that, of course he would say that now, after already killing 13. This is the core of the story. The goddess sees a monster. But the truth is far more tragic. He's not a monster, he's an addict. He lowers his gaze and speaks quietly, saying that killing someone innocent is the worst thing imaginable, that it is unforgivable. He knows it is wrong, and yet he cannot stop loving it. This is his personal hell, the urge to kill versus the unbearable guilt of doing it. He confesses he wants to kill and at the same time does not want to. That the pain of it is unbearable. He never had the courage to end his own life and instead wished someone would kill him. He says he has finally been killed. He begs to be left to die. He finally achieved his one true goal, and she's trying to take it away. She inhales deeply, her voice heavy with weariness. She remarks on how strange it is to hear this from someone who has slaughtered so many. She steps in front of him, forcing him to halt, and says it suits him perfectly. "Oh, you hate killing but are forced to do it? Perfect. I have just the job for you." She explains that a killer will not lead a peaceful or happy life in another world. With a snap of her fingers, she warns that his victims will not weigh on his mind there, but his second life will be filled with suffering, pain, and regret, a life crueler than death itself. She draws closer, telling him this is exactly why his reincarnation will be his atonement. She's twisting his torment into a feature, not a bug. She's not offering salvation. She's offering a cosmic prison sentence. Her hand rests on his neck, and her eyes glow like those of a demon. She declares he has no right to refuse. She leans in and calls him human child, saying he may rejoice now for having obtained a new life. In this different world, in this new body, he may walk a new path. On the boy's feet, a spell-like glow appears, and his body begins to vanish into the mist. He is off to another world, whether he likes it or not. The story shifts to a land where a fierce battle rages. The girl Dara runs, shouting for Silky to come quickly. Wait, Silky? That's our main character. The serial killer who hated his life has been reincarnated as a cute scout girl. The goddess has a twisted sense of humor. Behind her, a massive gaseous beast charges, ready to strike. Suddenly, a man with a huge shield intervenes, blocking the blow effortlessly. A smirk on his face, he calls out, telling Dara to attack. She extends her hand, casting a spell. Waves of black mist surge from her palm, striking the creature's head. Dara yells for Alga. Alga, leaping into the air with his sword, laughs before landing and swinging forward. The force of the strike pushes into the ground, leaving a deep groove. The tanker praises him, saying it is even better than imagined. As expected of the reincarnated Alga. Okay, so Alga is also a reincarnate. This is getting interesting. This party is stacked. Alga lowers his gaze, all serious. Dara apologizes for holding the team back. He tells her that in a party, they work together to grow stronger. What a noble guy. He's strong, he's humble. He's the total package. Shielder Grosso stands on the front line. Magician Dara, a prodigy, wields every type of magic. Scout Silky, though new, possesses remarkable knowledge, managing monster detection and traps. And finally, the incarnated Alga, the sword of the team. Alga turns to Silky, reminding her that their success is the result of each member's effort. Silky blushes, listening eagerly. Grosso comments that Alga is not only strong, but also noble. Dara teases Grosso, suggesting he could learn a thing or two. It's the perfect, happy adventuring party. Which means it's all about to go horribly wrong. The team moves through Roaring Oni Cave, an A+ difficulty tag. Traps bite at every step. The farthest any human has reached so far is floor 1702. The party agrees to press deeper. One member glances to Silky and asks how the area looks. She extends her hand, conjures a small glowing orb, reporting there are no monster signatures but warns everyone to watch for traps. They are already on the 16th floor. Dara studies the corridor. She explains that official intel about monsters and traps only covers up to this level. If they turn back now, they could still claim a solid reward. This is the logical, safe, rational move, which is why it's not going to happen. Grosso laughs and calls the idea weak, saying, "The furthest point humanity has ever reached is right ahead, and he will not turn back." He hollers about the spirit of adventurers, which, in any story, is code for, "I am about to do something incredibly stupid or die." Alga rubs his chin thoughtfully. He voices his concern that monsters are growing stronger, so pushing onward is risky. He's agreeing with Dara. He seems reasonable. He adds that few can reach the 16th floor in one go. And then he says the quiet part out loud. And if he were to thin the numbers quietly, the chance of detection would drop to nearly zero. Grosso bristles, demanding to know what he means. Alga clears his throat, apologizing for talking too much. However, in the very next second, our main protagonist, Alga, the noble hero, swings his long sword very hard and cuts off the entire arm of his fellow adventurer. The poor soul screams in unexplainable pain. And there it is. The perfect party lasted about 10 minutes. The leader's voice carries a sharp, commanding edge. He says that with this, He can handle any threat completely. His eyes glimmer with a dangerous intensity. Grosso freezes in shock. The rest of the team shouts, asking what just happened. Alga wipes his blade clean. He adds that while Grosso has the right to carry his shield, letting him act unchecked could cause problems. Dara quickly summons her air spirit, chilling the air. As she forms her spell, Alga extends his hand, saying he already anticipated it. Flames flare around him. He remarks that her level is still too low for her to overpower his all-around skills. This isn't a fight, it's an execution. He's not just a reincarnate, he's a high-level one. Alga advances, positioning his sword close to Grosso as a warning, then moves toward Dara, suggesting that if she cooperates, the confrontation can end quickly. Meanwhile, Silky flees, gasping for breath. She reaches a series of pillars, thinking she has found safety. Unbeknownst to her, Alga stands behind her, arms folded, observing calmly. He's not even out of breath. He's just disappointed in her cardio. He remarks that her hesitation forced him to engage with Dara first, and now she must face the consequences of her own inexperience. She rises, her voice trembling as she asks why he is killing them. Alga smirks, replying that it is because he is bored. Bored. When the Demon Lord ruled, each day was filled with endless battles. Compared to that, the present days feel dull, white, and peaceful. This is the exact corruption the goddess was talking about. He was a hero, he won the war, and now peace is boring. His expression darkens. He says simply that he kills because he wants to kill, with no other reason. She remains silent, unable to respond. He explains that forming a party and entering dungeons was only to hide his actions. In the lower layers of this dungeon, monsters clean up the remains. It is the perfect place for his deeds. Folding his arms, he declares the idle talk over and asks if she understands what that feeling is like. She swallows hard, a shadow of a villain crossing her eyes. She admits she painfully understands it because she feels the same way. This stops him cold. This wasn't in his monologue script. He was expecting tears and begging, not professional courtesy. He asks if she truly knows what she is saying. She nods, addressing him by name, and asks if he has read the exploration records of this dungeon. He smirks, asking if she has gone crazy, then admits he has looked through them. She brushes her hand across a small treasure chest and asks if he knows about it. He looks down and says he is not interested. Big mistake. The #1 rule of villainy: never ignore the quiet ones. He adds that all he wants to know is which lair is best for killing. She leans closer, asking one more question. His achievements are remarkable, she says, but there is still one thing missing: killing an S-class monster. She asks him if he has ever faced one before. Alga raises his voice, extending his hand and laughing, warning not to make him repeat himself. He says he will not take a fight unless the risk is 0. He's a bully, not a warrior. He only takes fights he knows he can win, like attacking his own teammates from behind. Suddenly, realization strikes him. He shouts that it cannot be. Silky's expression darkens as she opens the treasure chest. She confirms it, saying that just behind, Alga waits an S-class monster. He spins, gritting his teeth, as Silky tosses the chest aside, revealing a trap that summons the S-class boss Gaia Golem. Silky perches on one of the pillars, laughing wickedly, teasing that he had said he would not fight an S-class monster because of the risk. Alga glares at her, clenching his teeth, but before he can react, the golem strikes, swinging a massive fist. He barely twists and dodges, shouting not to underestimate him. The creature's strike slams into him, sending him crashing against a pillar, blood spilling from the impact. Silky laughs again, pointing out that physical attacks are useless against the golem, and reminds him to check its status. Glancing at the status window, Alga clenches his teeth in surprise at the level 88. Silky smirks, revealing that she is also a reincarnate, like him. And in that moment, Alga realizes he was never the hunter. He was the target. We flash back to the goddess, resting her head on a table, eyes on a chessboard. She explains that she guided 12 people into this different world to defeat the Demon Lord. And they succeeded. But a new problem arose. Those 12 heroes have become corrupted. They now prey on this world with crimes and cruelty. murder for pleasure, greed that crushes the weak, fraud and slave trading, the heroes she sent to save the world. They broke it. They became the new monsters. And this pains her. So she proposes a plan. Her solution? Fight fire with fire. Or in this case, fight a bunch of murderers with one professional. She could let a single reincarnate act as judge and purge the rest. She tells him, our killer, that since he likes killing, he should use that urge to cleanse the world. The more he lets that instinct loose, the more peace he will bring here. This isn't atonement. It's cosmic pest control. The boy's face remains blank. She presses 2 fingers to his chest and asks what he will do, calling him a careful planner and granting him permission to carry out the task. She promises to make his appearance handsome, which, in this case, meant turning him into a cute girl to make it easier to move through the world. And then the scene snaps back to the present. The Gaia golem holds Alga in its crushing grip. Alga, fading from the impact, shouts not to underestimate him. He gathers a red explosion in his hand. A vast bolt blazes from his palm into the golem's upper head. The hold breaks, he staggers free and laughs, only to see Silky hovering above with a knife. She applauds his effort, and then drives the blade into his palm, withdrawing it in an instant. She taunts that he looks spent, asking how he wants to be finished now that his stamina and magic are nearly gone. Alga struggles to gather magic again, his voice ragged. He pleads for mercy. He warns not to treat him like a joke. The same man who was monologuing about being bored just moments ago. Silky presses the knife deeper into his palm, colder now, and taunts that his misfortune is amusing. He gasps, blood spilling from his mouth, begging her to stop. He offers anything to make it end. Money, influence, whatever she wants. Suddenly, killing isn't so fun when you're on the receiving end. She crosses her fingers and answers that none of that matters. Because he kills, and therefore must be killed. She draws another blade and points it at his stomach, saying he should know how it feels to be on the other side. He screams for her to stop as the knife finds him, blood pouring out as he chokes on pain. She says she loves killing, but not in a way that explodes pleasure, rather as a heavy, painful release she never allowed herself before. She thanks him for letting her do this, because killing someone who did nothing wrong always haunted her, while killing him leaves no guilt. This is the first kill in her new life, and it's not a relapse. It's the first dose of the cure. He murmurs one last, "Please stop," but she does not relent. The final strike sends him down, and a spray of blood marks the end. Target 1 is down. She stands over him, breathing hard and oddly calm. Far away, the goddess watches from her throne, a wall of screens showing the scene from multiple angles. She lifts a glass and applauds quietly, pleased yet clinical, noting that Silky fulfilled her urge at last. The goddess smiles but corrects the notion of celebration, calling this act atonement rather than joy. She muses that the reincarnated heroes gained incredible powers and slipped into arrogance, and that purging them is part of balancing the world. She snaps her fingers and names Silky a tool for retribution, declaring she will not let the killer continue unchecked. On the screens, the count flickers. 11 targets remain. The goddess leans back, her expression cool as she plots the next move. A flashback unfolds to the boy's childhood. His sister presses a knife into his hand and orders him to kill. The boy in front of her cries out that he does not want to, but she digs the blade between his fingers and insists he will do it, leaning close to his face, promising to teach him how to kill properly. He stutters, sweat slick on his skin, begging that he never wants to kill again. This is the origin of his trauma. He wasn't born a monster, he was built. The scene snaps back to the present, and the revelation lands harder because Silky is the same person. The one who was tortured by killing is now forced to do it to survive. Morning sunlight finds her awake on the next day. She studies her hands, murmuring that yesterday was the first time in a long while. She curls on the bed and thinks through the operation, noting that Alga's level and experience far outmatched hers. A straight fight would have killed her, so she baited him with a false sense of safety and used the environment, the S-class trap, to her advantage. The lesson she takes away is cold and precise. that even reincarnated targets with powerful cheat skills can be felled by careful planning and timing. With Alga gone, 11 reincarnates remain. Later, at the Freilia almshouse, the orphanage, children play in the yard, but their voices fall soft when Silky appears. Freya brightens at the sight of her, and the kids swarm forward, calling, "Welcome home." This is Silky's cover, and maybe her anchor to sanity. Freya tells her to rest and offers a seat. Silky thanks her, the quiet after the hunt settling around her. Freya asks Silky if she will stay the night. Silky considers and says, "It depends, as long as it is not a bother." Freya laughs, saying it has been a while, and the children are happy too. They all really like her. One little girl sits on Silky's lap. A boy notices a pouch on the table and asks what it is. Silky says it is just the usual money. Dungeon money. Freya questions her about returning to the dungeons. Holding the boy on her lap, Silky explains she is grateful for the money Freya manages, but adventuring is dangerous, and she cannot avoid it. Silky says running the orphanage costs more than donations cover, and she wants to help, returning the favor for Freya's care when she had no relatives. Freya looks down conflicted, but Silky gently places her hand over hers, insisting she wants to do good deeds as part of her atonement. Freya hears the word atonement and thinks it's for Silky's past, but Silky means it for her present. Freya realizes she cannot persuade her otherwise. In a dark room, a boy is beaten. A man shouts at him, angry over the small amount collected. The boy kneels and apologizes. The man, Reincarnated Yamuzaki, presses his shoe to the boy's head, saying that collecting money like this is barely part of the job. He takes a breath, then slams his shoe again, shouting that the boy is nothing more than a lowly subordinate. The boy coughs blood. Yamuzaki keeps shouting that the boy is a low pet and orders him to lick the floor like an animal. He lifts his face and asks who he is. The men answer in hushed reverence. Reincarnated Yamuzaki-sama. Target number 2 has entered the game. The founder of Haga, who blended legal business with darker trades. The man who used his cheat skill to crush rival gangs and absorb their power. The shadow ruler of Aziria's underworld. Yamuzaki scoffs and flicks his cigarette, insisting he is no mere lord but a king in the shadows. Reborn by his cheat skill into a power to be reckoned with, his men remain frozen. He barks that they should stop thinking and simply follow orders. He reaches for a ledger and asks for the list of outstanding payments. But the beaten boy on the floor glares up and spits back that all the king talk means nothing. He pushes himself up with a sudden burning resolve. He grabs a knife from the wall, hands shaking, and charges straight at Yamuzaki. Yamuzaki blows smoke from his cigarette and shrugs. From behind, the beaten boy yells, "Die, Yamakaze!" and hurls the knife toward him. The blade flies true, but Yamuzaki catches it with a calm hand, without even looking. The boy freezes in shock, stammering that he aimed from behind, bewildered at how it failed. Yamuzaki rests his palm on the boy's shoulder. He tells the crew he will teach them how to collect what is owed. He forces the boy down and drives the knife into the floor beside his head. A brutal, visible example. The boy screams as Yamuzaki orders them to remember what happens when someone rises against him. He presses the blade to the boy's neck. Yamuzaki says he does not enjoy killing because it is inefficient. He only removes true enemies. And quietly, it becomes clear why he rose to power. His cheat skill, letting him sense malice, a perfect defense against betrayal and assassination. This makes him a nightmare opponent for someone like Silky. The children crowd around Silky, begging for a song, a game, a story. Silky shakes her head, saying it is already night, but they all protest, refusing to listen. Unsure what to do, Freya appears with a basket of toys, smiling, saying she will handle it. As the children drift off to sleep, Silky sits on a chair. She apologizes to Freya, saying she feels useless. Freya brushes Silky's hair gently, telling her that her presence alone has made everyone so happy, like having an older sister to play with. Silky smiles faintly, hoping that is true. Freya pauses, then gently warns her not to overdo her benevolence. Confused, Silky listens. Freya recalls the day Silky repented, confessing in the rain that she has killed many people. Her past life. Freya reassures her, saying she has suffered and condemned herself enough. And as long as she never kills again, that is more than enough. A promise. Silky is silent, unsure how to tell the truth, that her entire presence in this world is still tied to killing. This is the central conflict. Her mission versus her one chance at peace. Meanwhile, Yamuzaki holds the ledger. He orders his men to collect the money. One subordinate hesitates. Yamuzaki argues that taking money from the Freya almshouse is easy, because its director is beloved and trusting. He orders his men not to hesitate, saying they will make a show of her to send a message. The men stiffen but obey. The plot converges. Far away, the goddess watches the feeds and smiles, amused that the path is converging, noting that Yamuzaki has chosen Silky's location as his next stop. She muses that an inevitable clash is approaching and admits she cannot wait to see how it unfolds. Though tension flickers across her face, she remembers the luck in the Alga encounter. She wonders if a cheat skill poor Silky can prevail against those who wield special powers, and for a moment, she admits even she does not know the answer. On the screens, Silky appears, promising Freya that she will never kill another human again. And the goddess snaps upright, furious, absolutely furious that Silky seems to have lost her edge. The goddess lashes out, asking how Silky expects to face reincarnates with cheat skills if she refuses to fight, warning that she will be certain to die if she remains soft. The air tightens with the weight of that challenge, and the wheels of fate begin to turn. On the street, people fall silent and press close to doorways. As Yamuzaki and his Haga men arrive, their presence is so heavy that whispers turn to fear. The gang pushes through the crowd, barking that anyone in the way should move. A passerby mutters that once Haga fixes its eyes on someone, there is little hope. A pebble arcs from the crowd, and Yamuzaki catches it mid-air without looking. That's the cheat skill. Malice Detection. He doesn't need to see the threat, he just needs to feel the intent. His men shout to find who threw it. A small girl steps forward and points at him, accusing him that her father killed himself because of him, calling him a savage. The men bristle and threaten her, but Yamuzaki holds a hand up. He walks to the girl and meets her eyes, asking whose fault it was, his voice calm and cold. One man objects, asking if the boss will really raise a hand against a child, but Yamuzaki only asks whether her father suffered from debt, then pulls coins from his coat and tosses them to her, saying they should last until her life steadies. A moment of mercy? No, it's a performance. The girl recoils and refuses the money. Yamuzaki turns, saying he took a liking to her because few show backbone. Then, over his shoulder, tells her to take the coin, because her mother will die soon. He glances to a subordinate and orders them to find the girl's house, to kill her mother and hang her in the square as an example. The girl cries out, begging them to wait. This is his true nature. The mercy was just the setup for the true act of terror. Inside the orphanage, Silky sat quietly. She cracked her knuckles and said, "All right, then I will come visit again soon." The kids whimpered, asking why she was leaving. Freya knelt beside her, saying, "You are going on another adventure, aren't you?" Silky tilted her head. She said, "It could be. Dungeon exploration is still the most efficient." Freya hugged her, whispering reminders of her promises. Silky smiled softly and said, "I will never kill a human again. I know that. The promise she just made. The one the goddess hates." Freya added, "One more thing. Make sure you come back alive." Silky nodded, promising that too. After all, who would pay back the debts if I didn't return? The door suddenly opened. Yamazaki stepped in, smiling, saying, "What a nice attitude you have." Freya shouted, "Wait, we agreed you would not come here." He waved his hand, saying, "I will be gone as soon as I get what I want." He extended a document and said, "Including interest, 5 lock bells right here and now." Freya frowned, saying, "Did we not discuss this already?" Using it for good deeds removes deadlines and interest. Yamuzaki laughed, holding up the paper, saying, "I bought this loan from the previous lender, and I see no mention of deadlines or interest." Freya looked down, saying that was only a verbal promise. He chuckled, saying, "So that is out of the question." The classic predatory loophole. Silky stepped forward, putting herself between Freya and Yamuzaki, saying, "If these people are troubling you, I will handle this." Freya tells Silky not to worry, that it is only about money. But Silky stares and says she cannot ignore this. These men are trying to intimidate them, and she will not allow it. She lifts her chin and tells Yamuzaki if he has something to say, then she is here to hear it. He meets her gaze and smirks. Amused by her nerve, he says she has guts, and that she is his type. Then he strikes her in the stomach. She vomits and falls to the floor. The children flinch and cry out. Yamuzaki snarls that the whimpering is useless, ordering his men to take Freya away from Silky. 2 guards seize Freya, and the woman begs them to wait, pleading, "What will you do?" Yamuzaki snaps that she should not ask foolish questions. He steps close and mocks the value of the ramshackle house, then saying the only asset left is her. He produces coins and coldly calculates a repayment plan, based on selling the property or putting her to work until the debt is cleared. He turns the moment into a display meant to cow the town. The children break into louder cries and he laughs, but Silky surprises him, springing up with a knife and leaping toward him, a desperate, foolish attack. And Yamuzaki stops the blade midair, pinching it between 2 fingers with a calm, measured grip. Her attack was dead before it even began. His Malice Detection told him exactly where the knife would be. This is the power gap. Her physical skill means nothing. Silky remarks that Yamuzaki is strong as well. He discards the knife, asking if she finally realized she should not defy him. Then he kicks her again. Freya shouts, "Silky!" A man comments, "She is a dead woman. No one can win against the boss." Blood covers Silky's mouth as Yamuzaki grabs her by the neck, lifts her, and slams her to the ground. His subordinates cheer, declaring their boss invincible. Silky lies on the ground, struggling to breathe, but a voice calls out, "Freya," pleading to offer her body instead, asking him to spare Silky. She finally faints, surrounded by the children she cares for, who wipe her and cry, shouting that Mama was taken. Silky smirks, blood on her face, whispering, "I will never kill a human again." She remembers her promise to Freya, but a bad person is not human. This is the loophole, the mental gymnastics of an assassin. She's not breaking her promise, she's just redefining the terms. She stands, tying her hair, telling the children to wait and be good, promising Freya will come back. The kids, intrigued, promise to behave. Silky points at Syria, asking her to be a good girl as an older sister, and she agrees excitedly. Silky smirks again, teasing that as the older sister, Syria should do her a favor. The plan is already forming. Meanwhile, in the date mansion, inside the club, the show continues. Yamuzaki asks in a separate room about the woman. A bald man reports she is resting after being shown the stage, ready to begin training tomorrow. Yamuzaki looks tense. The man notices and asks if something is wrong. Yamuzaki thinks back to Silky's words about him being strong as well. He wonders if she knows more than just his strength. This is the weakness of his cheat skill. It makes him powerful, but it also makes him paranoid. He's a king, and he's rattled by a girl he just beat half to death. Yamuzaki tells his men to put more on night watch. He lowered his head, thinking maybe he was just overthinking it, but decided it was better to be on the safe side. Silky walks the street with the goddess's Reincarnated killing manual open in her hands. Yes, she has a literal instruction book for this mission. She's reading the line about Malice Detection, and the way the cheat skill shows the intent of those who mean her harm. The manual tells her why surprise attacks fail, and why her level from the Demon Lord's subjugation towers over ordinary humans. The book stamps the kill difficulty as very hard. A flashback presses into her mind. The goddess explains the purpose of the manual. A single volume that contains names, ranks, and most importantly, the cheat skills of the 12 reincarnates. She adds with a cool smile that if the information fails, the only other outcome is death. What a great boss. Silky flips pages with a blank face and remembers another lesson from her sister. A childhood scene where a gun is held steady. The instruction is given that knowing a person is the key to killing them. That studying their thoughts, habits, and weakness is how you learn the blade. The goddess gave her data. Her sister gave her wisdom. She needs both. The memory sharpens her focus as she stops in front of Yamuzaki's mansion and turns the final page, lips moving in a quiet litany of thanks, because now she understands how to end him. Malice detection was a simple skill compared to what some reincarnates possessed. Yet for Yamuzaki, betrayed in his past life, it meant he would never be caught off guard again. In his office, he tensed, grinding his teeth, unable to forget her face. He strode toward the door, ignoring the man who called after him. Ascending the stairs, he stopped at a gate where two guards stepped aside. Inside, Freya sat quietly. She asked what he wanted, but he ignored her, lunging forward to pin her onto the bed. "I will take care of the training myself," he declared. She stared at him with wide eyes, then closed them completely. He laughed, teasing, not going to resist. "It's useless anyway." "What are you so scared of?" she whispered. "Let me pray for your pitiable soul." He clenched his teeth, shouting, "You damn—" Just then, the door burst open. A man ran in, shouting, "Boss, Yamuzaki, get down from the bed." He asked sharply what was happening. The man explained a fire had broken out, spreading rapidly with no known origin, impossible to extinguish. Yamuzaki clenched his teeth, realizing that woman had done this. An arrow suddenly shot through the window, and he caught it mid-air. His subordinates stiffened. And from the window above, Yamuzaki spotted Silky, arrow shooter in hand, glaring down at him. She's not just attacking, she's directing. The fire is a tool to flush him out, to separate him from his power base. Yamuzaki clenches his teeth, snaps the arrow. He shouts at two men to take the woman with them and evacuate. He warns that if anyone tries to steal her, they are to kill her. Yamuzaki moves toward the window, jumps from it to the opposite building. Inside, a man grabs Freya, saying, "Let's go, you come with us." And Freya just looks outside the window, her eyes fixed on the burning street. Yamuzaki, standing above, says that she ran after realizing her assassination attempt failed. From his vantage point, he sees the huge fire spreading below. Another arrow flies up from the crowd. Silky stands among them, calm and focused, aiming carefully. Yamuzaki snaps the arrow aside with his skill. He snarls that she has the nerve to underestimate him, then leaps down after her. She jumps over the barriers and moves swiftly through the alley, an alley that has only one exit. He's not chasing her. He's being herded. Yamuzaki meets her at the far end, blocking her way. He says that the game of chase is over now. She faces him without flinching. He observes aloud that if another group tries to take her back, it will fail, because his best men are already with that woman. Yamuzaki smiles with venom, saying that even though her actions are amusing, she is dead for sure. She pauses for a moment, then says there is no other spot, no other option, and that she has come to kill him. She takes out her knife, holding it steadily. Yamuzaki giggles, asking if she's aware of who he is. She replies simply that she's going to kill all the reincarnated. Yamuzaki laughs like a maniac, saying she is not quite right in the head. She retorts, saying she has been thinking the whole time about how to kill him. He lights his cigarette, asking if she came up with some nice plan. She says no, because his cheat skill is an incredible and unavoidable problem. Among the reincarnated, it is the most annoying skill. In his natural environment, it is almost impossible to kill him. However, there was something else planned for him. With a threatening voice, she lets him know that, in reality, he is the easiest target to kill. She throws the knife to the side, a distraction, and in the next second, an arrow gets stabbed in his spine. He feels the intense cold feeling. He glances back. An arrow is lodged inside him. According to his power, this was impossible. He never detected any malice, but when he looked in the same direction, Syria was holding a crossbow and just shot the arrow at him. This is the plan. This is the ultimate loophole. How do you defeat a system that detects malice? You use an attacker who has zero malice. A pure kid who was prepared by Silky. A child who has no understanding of evil intentions. A child who was probably told this was a game or a prayer. She was the source of his demise. As he falls down from the pain, Silky tells Syria she will come back. Of course, because the prayer was done well. And Syria lights up with excitement. Silky checks again, asking Syria not to tell anyone about the prayer. warning that if she speaks, it will become useless. Syria promises she understands. Silky takes Syria by the hand, pulling her along, saying they should go back and wait for Freya. Above them, Yamuzaki groans, clutching himself, thinking, "Bingo, you're going to die within 10 minutes." He thinks, "Do not lump me in with ordinary humans. I have some resistance, I can still move." He drags himself toward the main street, banking on his men to find him, convinced he will survive. Silky appears and looks down at him, saying, "No, you will not." He stares, confused. She grabs his head and hauls him upright, saying that if he dies from the poison, then Syria would be the one who killed him. And she will not let a child carry that burden. This is the most critical part. She could let him die. The job would be done. But she is not just here to kill him. She is here to protect Syria's innocence. She decides she will be the one to kill him. She takes the sin back onto herself. Holding a knife, Silky laughs, the world blurring around the motion. And then the alley goes quiet. After a while, people gather. They whisper that something serious has happened. Confirming this is the reincarnated Yamuzaki. They stare at his head, placed on a wooden stack. This wasn't just a kill, it was a message. Fear and murmurs ripple through the crowd, wondering who committed the killing. And the question hangs, why would someone put his head on display? A woman approaches the prince in the grand hall. A completely different scene. A new target. She asks if something is wrong. He says the weight of responsibility presses on his shoulders. She gestures down to the streets where citizens shout congratulations on his engagement. The girl giggles, noting the loyalty and trust pouring toward him, saying he is the one who can guide the country. A picture of a perfect ruler. But we know what reincarnates become. Far away on a throne, the goddess watches her wall of screens. She remarks that the second target has fallen, admitting she panicked briefly when Silky was beaten, but that now the kills look easy. She praises the efficiency of eliminating 2 reincarnates with only information. She teases the prince, correcting herself when reminded the prince is a woman. Then urges onward with spirit. She names the next target as the #1 reincarnate Sadto, but smiles that there is an order to everything. The screen shifts and shows 2 women, Shuru Shuru and Muru Muru, a pair marked by great resonance. The goddess laughs, suggesting they be killed in one stroke. With that, the count ticks down, and the remaining reincarnates for Silky drop to 9. That's the end of Target 2. The serial killer is reincarnated into another world is just wild. The absolute highest score from me goes to the strategy and that cold-blooded 200 IQ play to use an innocent child to bypass Yamuzaki's Malice Detection was just chef's kiss. A perfect, ruthless, and logical plan. But what did you think of that loophole? And who do you think Silky will go for next? Drop your theories in the comments. If you enjoyed the recap, do me a solid, smash that like button and subscribe for more. And as always, please support the original author by reading the official release. I'm Narumee, see you next time.